At the start of the movie, a stranger was staring at a ship docked from afar. The stranger then started walking towards the snowfield. He arrived at the edge of a cliff that is overlooking a settlement. The said place is called Barrow, which is a town in Alaska. Barrow's sheriff named Ebron, together with his deputy, Billy, were looking at cellular phones that had been destroyed. The townsfolk were preparing for the start of a period during the winter season where there would be a month-long polar night. People were preparing to leave before the start of the period, saying their goodbyes to family who are being left behind. Sled dogs were killed by an unknown individual. Stella, who is Ebon's estranged wife, was on her way to the airport to leave before the month-long polar night begins, but she got into an accident. Because of that said accident, she missed the last plane out of town with no choice but to stay. Carter showed Ebon things which Wilson identified as Polar Tours equipment. Wilson told Ebon that half of the helicopter was trashed. Gus, who works at the power plant, was attacked by the vampires when he went out to investigate strange noises. Ebon got a call about a commotion happening in a restaurant. Reason for the commotion was because the stranger was asking to be served with Rami. Ebon and Stella took him in and straight to jail. While in jail, the stranger tried to instill fear at Ebon and the group by telling them that they're all going to die. When the power went down, and the computer and phones were not working, Ebon decided to check on Gus. Ebon found the decapitated head of Gus stuck on a pole. He immediately went back to town, advised the townsfolk to stay in their homes, lock their doors and load their firearms. At the station, Ebon saw his younger brother, Jake, being held by the stranger. Ebon shot the stranger, enabling Jake to break free. Ebon handcuffed the stranger to the cell. While Ebon and Stella were on the road, they were attacked. A lone vampire went after them. They were able to shake off the vampire and elude it. When they got back to the station, there were blood all over the place. Helen and Jake were not there. The stranger asked Ebon to finish him off, for he was not taken by the vampires. The vampires attacked the townsfolk. They went on a killing spree, satisfying their lust for blood, their craving to hunt and kill, killing those that crossed their paths, attacking those inside their homes. The people used guns but did not do much against the rampaging vampires. They fought back to no avail. The streets were drenched in blood and death. All they can do is hide and hope that they won't be the next victims. Ebon and Stella were able to reach the diner where they found Jake safe. Since they cannot stay in the diner, someone suggested to head out to Kelso's house, which have a hidden attic. They could use it as a hiding spot. On the way, Ebon and Stella were cornered by the vampires. But Bo, who was a mechanic who lived out by himself, was able to help them get away from the vampires. Ebon, Stella, and Bo were able to make it to the attic. They can hear screaming outside. Jake told the group that Grandma Helen was killed and how they fed on her. Ebon said that he does not care what those things are. He told them that they will sleep in shifts and ration out food. Ebon said that they have two advantages. One is that they know the town. The other is that they know cold. That they live there for a reason, because nobody else can. In the sheriff's station, Marlowe killed a handcuffed stranger by breaking his neck. When there was a blizzard, the group decided and went out to go for a supply run. The whiteout served as a cover. They headed out to the general store to get supplies. Everyone gathered the things they need. In the said store, they encountered a little girl that had turned. The said little girl attacked them. They were able to subdue her and Jake cut off her head. While they were still in the store, the whiteout is over. The group cannot stay in the store. They have to move. Carter said that a diversion needs to be created. Ebon ran through the streets shouting to get the attention of the vampires. The group were able to reach the sheriff's station. Ebon was able to reach Grandma Helen's place with the vampires chasing after him. When Marlowe's lover went into the house, Ebon directed the ultraviolet lamp towards her. This caused her face to get burned. Because of what happened, Marlowe was forced to kill her. Bo told Ebon to run for Rogers Avenue. Bo created a distraction by killing as much vampires as he could with his tractor. Bo was able to kill quite a number of vampires. He rammed the tractor into the hotel and tried to blow himself up but failed. Marlowe killed Bo by crushing his head. At the station, Carter showed the group his current state. He asked Ebon not to make him turn for he was bitten. Ebon was forced to kill Carter before he fully turned. On day 27, Ebon saw someone signaling with a lie. Jake said that it was Billy. Ebon and Stella wondered where Billy was. They saw Billy there, as well as the covered bodies of Peggy and the girls. Billy said that he does not want them to die like the rest. Billy told them that he tried to shoot himself but the gun jammed. When they arrived at the station, everyone was gone. Stella said that they might have already headed out to the Utilidor. The three of them decided to go there. On the way, they saw a little girl walking through the streets. Stella took the little girl named Gail off the street and hid. Eben told Stella to go and meet up at the Utilidor. Eben was able to make it to the Utilidor. He saw Jake and the others, but Stella was not there. Billy was able to make it to the Utilidor, but a vampire had followed him. The vampire attacked Billy. Eben and the group tried to help Billy, but the vampire was too strong. The vampire was almost able to subdue Eben, but Billy pushed the vampire into the compactor. But Billy's hand got into the machine and got cut off. They saw that Billy was also turning, which forced Eben to kill him. Stella and Gail were hiding under a wreck. Eben and his group saw that oil was flowing out into the streets. The vampires had punctured the pipes, causing the oil to spill out into the streets. They realized that the vampires are going to burn the town. That when the town burns down, no one will really know what happened. That it was just some horrible accident. Stella and Gail, who were hiding from under one of the trucks, are trapped and are at risk of being burned when the fire spreads. Eben realized he won't have a chance to beat the vampires as a normal human being. What Eben did was to get an infected blood from Billy, and using a syringe, injected himself with it. Eben's turning into a vampire was not instantaneous. Though Eben seems to be turning, he still had control over his faculties. He went out to where the vampires were gathering, who were watching the town burn. Eben went after the leader of the vampires. They battled each other. Eben was able to kill Marlowe by punching him with such force that it went through the mouth and out the back of the head. When the band of vampires saw what happened to their leader, they all fled. Eben spent his last moments with Stella, watching the sun rise together. His body burned to ash in Stella's arm when the sun came up.